Welcome to Factorio Masterclass. My name is Nilaus, and today we're going to solve power on all of our planets once and for all, because once we now have fusion power, you just need two fusion power plants, one that works on Aquilo and one that works on all the other planets. And then you stamp it down, and then forever you will be good for power. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to design those two power plants, and they are going to be, of course, city block size, and they are going to be absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. They're going to be so compact, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how the fusion power works, because it's weird, but it's a cool little design challenge, which is greatly appreciated, which means that you can come up with some really cool things. And here I've just made some illustrations here. So basically how it works is they have neighborhood bonus. We're going to work through the basics, then we're going to do the design for Aquilo, then we're going to do the design for other planets. And as usual, everything is available, all the designs, these two unique designs here are available to patron supporters. So if you want to the convenience of just stamping it down into your base, well, pledge on Patreon and support the channel. This is how we keep the lights on around here. So thank you very much to everyone who does that. If you don't want to or can't afford, then you can just follow along on the video and just build along as we go. So first things first, we are going to take a look at it. So if you have a single one, then that generates 100 megawatt of heat as plasma, which will then go into, rotate, and into two of these, which can handle turn 500, 50 megawatts of plasma heat into 50 megawatts of power, electrical power. So super nice. But when they're next to each other, then they get 100% neighborhood bonus, and it's also like this. As long as they are touching like this, or actually like this, then they get the bonus. But I would always recommend connecting the plasma, because otherwise you have issues that the plasma does not flow through. So I always connect with plasma, and that's just how it works better, because then you can basically hook everything up to this one, and it'll still distribute the plasma evenly. So this one, then we'll have each of these is 100, but this one has one neighborhood bonus, so it gets plus 100%. This one has one neighborhood, so this counts as 2, and this counts as 2, so it counts as 4. 4 needs 8, so you can see it already sort of needs a lot more. And then this is generating 100 megawatt of power. This is generating 400 megawatt of power, so double the size, 8 times as much. And if we have 3 configured like this, then this one has a neighborhood bonus of 2, 1, 2. This one has 2. This one has 2. So this is 3 plus 3 plus 3. That's the equivalent. So it's 9, and that means 18. And that is 900 megawatt of power. Then we go up to number 4. You can configure it like this. If you configure it like this, then they will only have 2 neighborhood bonus and 2 neighborhood bonus, plus the plasma from here is isolated in these two, and the plasma from here is isolated in these two. So the correct way is to connect them like this, so that the plasma flows all the way through here. And they have more bonus. So this one has a bonus of 2, so this counts as 3. This counts as 3. This one has neighborhood bonus of 3, 1, 2, 3. So this counts as 4 plants and 4. So it's 7 plus 7, that's 14. That means 28 of these. And that means, again, 1.4 gigawatt of power. Let's jump up to the one that we are actually going to use here. This is for Aquilo. That's this one. So this one has a neighborhood bonus of 2, so it counts as 3, this counts as 4. And same here, this counts as 3, this counts as 4. So it's 7 plus 7. So that's 14 on the outer one. And this one has 3 neighborhood bonus, 1, 2, 3. So that counts as 4, so that's 18 power plants in total, the equivalent of. This one has a generous 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it counts as 6. So we're at 18 plus 6, that's 24. So this counts as 24 power plants, even though there are only 6. So 24, that means 48, and that's 2.4 gigawatt of power. Yummy. It gets more than that. Let me just show you what 8 would look like. And this is if we have 8 in this configuration, which is the best configuration you can have. So in this case, we are having, counts as 3 because there's 2 neighborhoods. This one counts as 3 to 2 neighborhoods. This one has 4 neighbors, so it counts as 5. So 3 plus 5 plus 3 is 11. Same on this side, that's another 11, so it's 22. This one has 5 neighbors, so it's 6. And this one also has 5 neighbors, so it's 6. So it's another 12. That means this counts as 34 power plants. And that means you have 68 of these, and you will generate 3.4 gigawatt of power. That's a pretty insane thing. But you can also see this thing it's pretty crowded. This is what we're going to aim for on non-Aquilo planets, but since Aquilo also needs heating for everything, we're going to be designing this size here, which is 2.4 gigawatt of power. That's going to be our Aquilo design. So here on Aquilo, this is the one we're going to be making, and then we have to also cover the fluoroketone, because the fluoroketone gets consumed in these ones and converted into plasma, and then they go into the fusion generators, and then it comes out as the hot fluoroketone, which then needs to be cooled. So we need to cool this, and we need to cool it according to the ratio that's being consumed here. So that is in all of these, it's 4 in each. So we need to set this one up to be generating this is 24, so we need to be recycling 24 fluoroketone, which is a couple of these as well. There we go, like this, and some modules in. So we have to keep that in mind. Let's start by getting into the design work and figure out how we're going to do this. So the first thing is I need to place it in the middle, which is challenging. So, well, I want to make something that's symmetric to the extent that it is possible. And these also behave super weird because they have to be placed like this. There's no pipes for a plasma, so you have to do this. But if I do, for example, like this, which would be nice because that one connects the inputs. You can see that the inputs, they connect here. But now I blocked off all outputs from this generator. This can no longer output from here or here, so that's not a legal design. So I have to do something like this. Then we start seeing issues because I could then do it like this, but yeah, then we're getting out into the edge here, so that's not working. So we have to come up with some kind of different way. So I can start sort of pointing them the other side here, like this, which also works. And then again, I have to make sure that I don't block off anything here. So now that's a thing. Then we're gonna say, okay, so I needed 30. I need 68. So if I sort of split it into 4 equal parts, then each of these parts would need 17. So we're only at 10, and I need 17. That's kind of disheartening, isn't it? So let's continue and see how many more we can put in here. So that one we could put in here, that one we could put in here, and we can then put that in here and here. No, it's not 30. It's we need to go up here. It's this one. It's 48. The big one here, which is impossible to do on Aquilo if you want to stay within the boundaries. But this one is 48, so that means there have to be 12 on each of these circles here. So I have put 14 in, and I think that's good, because if I then copy let's say this part and then flip it so that it belongs down here, then it works. And then I can take the same thing here, and then I can flip it over on this side. Like, that is a really good design. It's we can see that there's room for everything inside the base. We can also see that it is not really accurately placed because it's not evenly placed here, and I think it has to go a little bit down. Maybe like this. Let me just check, because we are going to need this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's correct. Good. So this is the place. Now this is overbuilding. This says 56, but the thing is, I also needed, as I said, these two here, and therefore I can, if I take these 4 out and these 4 out, then I suddenly buy myself some space, and now I have the perfect ratio, and that means I can take these things here and place them somewhere down here. Let's place them like directly inserting into this here and here. So that is the first challenge, is coming up with a design. This is a very beautiful design, in my opinion. So the next thing I want to do is I want to see if we can get heating into everything, because that's the next part. Each of these, the generators don't need to be heated, but if we start, or when we start looking at this, then we see, oh, you know what, this actually needs to be heated. So I need to have a heating somehow going here and in there just for that heat. Okay. And then I'm gonna go like this. Like this here. And then that can go up and down. So right now I want to put it all the way out here to the edge, because then I use this heating for this as well. So this is now what we want to do. We want to sort of figure out how can we do the heating. So this is pretty good. We're going to do like a corner, and then we're going to copy the corner if we can make that work. So the next thing is going up here. We also need to have something going up here. So that one and that one. And let's get these in as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is because now I can use this pattern here. And now that's connected, and then it goes up here, because then this will be a line all the way through that will then make sure that we get heating here. And then we just have like small indents here, which will take care of that. And also that one. Okay, so now we work our way forward. That's going to be here. And I'll just do this. And let's see. So that's connected. This one needs to connect. This one needs to connect. I want to sort of have them two against each other. And here, it doesn't work. These are going to be here. And then we can do that one. Okay, so this goes up and you go down here. This goes up here, here, and here. And then I also need to get this. We're going to leave a space open here. And for now, let's just do this one. Good. Well, that's pretty simple. Let's take this one here and flip it over on the other side. Like that. So, all of... Oh, okay. There was one missing. That one's missing. So, this works. This doesn't work, though. Like that. Now, let's see if we can do the same thing down here. It's going to be a little bit different, because I'm not going to have everything exactly like it. So, let's do this and then flip it vertically. And then say, okay, it's not really going to be the same. But if I do here, then none of this is needed. Yeah, so this is actually kind of the same. We also have to say these are not here. They're not there. Just have to make sure that this is kind of isolated. So this is all I need. And then we have to do this. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do here. Flip it again. Right, so this is basically the hardest part about this design, is making sure that we can heat everything. So it goes in here, this one goes in here, and we don't have heating coming in here, but we will. What we now need to do is we need to heat the power plant here. So I'm going to drag this in, and we're going to be making like a nice line like this, because then I don't need that one. There. Good. And then this is not needed. Okay, so the next thing. These... And we also need some kind of place where we need to fill this up, jumpstart. But that's kind of the last thing we want to do. So I'm going to do a design like this here, so that we can feed it in. And we're also going to be feeding it in on the other side. It means we have to have... let's get that here and here. And that needs to be heated like so. And see, I can't do this one, because then there would be no way of heating the inner one. So it has to be going this way so I can heat it. Good. So all of it is heated. These can get in here. Getting it into these two plants is not going to be a difficult thing. And like this. So now all of the hot fluoroketone flows around. And flows around and then ends up in here where it goes in. So we need to get this a little bit higher. This is 4 per second. So there. And oops. There you go. So that gets us exactly what we want. Okay, so power is good. the heating is good, and the liquids are good. The power poles should then be next. I want to, even though we might have some better power poles, we are actually not going to use the better power poles. We're simply going to see if what we can do with these power poles here, with normal power poles, and just kind of build a little pattern here that hopefully will get everything there. Everything is now powered. Great. So what do we need now? Now we need to make a jump starter, and we need to feed the power in here. So the power being fed in there is going to be a little bit interesting. That one goes in here, because this also needs to be heated. So this is the actual power, and we also need it into that one, so we can put it in here. So that actually is a really neat little setup, and then we can do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, but we could also do something a little nicer by doing it like this. And I think we only want a single one in here. Like this, and these go out, and then just cross here. Okay, so this gets all of these done. These three get these three lower ones done. The only thing we're missing now is the sort of refueling, or the jump starter, just to get the things going. And if I build it like this, unbarreling fluoroketone, and that goes unbarreled here. Ah, just so happens that there was room for that. What a coincidence. And then we're going to get inputs and outputs. They're going to be input and output. If I build it here, it would be out of power. So, you know, there's a lot of things that just happen to... and don't you think I spent a little bit of time, just a little bit of time, just to get everything to be working. So now we have another thing, and that's this here should not just go crazy and push in all the time, because then it'll jam the system. It needs to actually monitor what's on these ones. So I'm going to go this way and then monitor what we have. And then I'm going to set it to, okay, let's make sure that we have enough for at least 1000. Just to make sure that it maintains something in here, and this one keeps flowing for a while, but it also stops when there isn't need for it anymore. Looking at the system, I think that everything looks really nice and good, and all we need is basically just to try to hook it up and then just see how this works. The first thing we hook up is getting the liquids in here. So we're just going to request some fluoroketones. We should have that ample supply on this planet. This is after all where we built it. And let me just look at power poles. Yeah, this looks fine. I don't have a middle one up here, which I think is also okay. It still looks nice. Just checking to see if it's awful. So this will get going, and this is when it's less than 1000. There, and they're working, and they're starting to fill up here. Good. So now the next one is here. This will be just a little bit of this, and I'm just going to set 10 because that it should be plenty, and copy it into the other ones here and here. So once it gets online, luckily this is not like the normal reactors or these heating towers that take forever to get up there. This is that as soon as it works, it works. Now what we will see is that it's not actually producing very much, because our demand on this planet isn't really a lot. We don't have a big demand for power, but it should be. You can see here now these are firing up, and we should see that they start spinning. Not super fast, because our power output is like very small for each of them, but it is working, and they're heading out. And you can see here, this one will take a while to fill up, so that the whole network is saturated, and there's 1000 in the combined for these boxes. And they might be output full. Output full is something that seems like an issue, but I've been really investigating it. Output full just basically means that it's demanding so little power that there is really no demand for it. Because the easiest way to solve this is, ironically, to invent a power. This one would be megawatt, and then it would be an input, and then I would say 2000. Oh, I can't do that. It has to be gigawatt then. 2 gigawatt. 2. So this one is requesting 2 gigawatt of power, and then we should see that everything springs come online. And this is the important thing. Are they all kind of pinkish? Yes, they are all kind of pinkish. So that means it is working. And so when the power is actually demanding, when it there's no power demand or very low power demand, then it's basically like one of these will work and the other ones will sort of be jammed with output full because there's not really any demand for it. That's just how it is. I really wish that if there was only, let's say that there were 6% demand for this one, for the power of this one, then it would be like 1% for each of them, but it isn't. It's these 5 of them, random 5 of them are idle with output full, and the last one is working at 6% or something like that. So it's, yeah, but this is a beautiful design. It works really well, and I think it's also very static, uses the space very efficiently. Let's see if we can make one for all the other planets, because the other planets don't have a need for heating pipes, so we can actually make it even more compact, and therefore we can go for this design and see if we can squeeze this in on one of the other planets. So we are on Volcanus. This seems like a good place to build, and we're going to start by jamming this somewhat in the middle. I guess that's kind of it. And now we have to remind ourselves that this has to be an even bigger design and even more strained. So now we have to have, okay, let's go like this. Now we have to have for, if we look at it from here and upwards, so if we could build this corner, that would be 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17. However, we also need to do the fluoroketone processing down here, exactly like we did on Aquilo. So I'm going to try to make it like maybe 19 up here, and then it'll probably be 15 down here, and 15 and 19. So let's give that a shot and see how that can work. We're going to start by just jamming it like this. So that's the first 3. That's a good start. And then we have to make sure that we do not sort of block them off. That's the most important thing here. So that one, and then no matter how I do this, that would block off here, or if I do this, then block off that one. So it's kind of sad, but I could make like this, ironically, then that would actually work, because then they come out at this point. So that's 6. Then let's proceed up here. We can have 2 in this location, and I can have 1 in this location. So that's up to 9. And can we build it all the way up here? I guess we have to. There. And then I already see that we have missed a little bit on the direction. So it's going to be like this. There. Good. What are we up to now? We are up to 11. Okay. Well, that's an option. That's 13. And can I also build like this? Like that one is going to be a little bit squeezed. It's going to be a tough one, so let's, but we'll get it. So where are we now? Now we're at 15. So this would be what I want to have down here, like this, so that I have room for our build. I think we actually need to have it a little bit bigger, but okay, so let's see if we can get this at least up to 18. Like this, and then I guess something like this. That's 18? Yes, that's 18. So I take this and I flip it there. And if I then flip the whole thing, flip it over on this side. Okay, so this is definitely using all the space available, and we now have 72, so I can remove 4. I can remove these 4. Now we don't have to worry about heating, which makes everything a lot nicer, but it's still going to be a challenge. So this is our challenge now, to figure this out. So let's start working on the pipes for this. We do know that we want these 2 to be here. They are going to be like squeezed really tight. And how close are they going to make it? Well, I do need to have a heating, or not a heating, but a pump there, or that one. Okay, so that and that. And this one is now 32, so each of these have to be 16. There. And I want to make sure that we can do this without having quality items, but if you have quality items, oh boy, does that make it a lot easier. There, and I guess we just go that like this. Good. So that is the fluoroketone, the cold one, and it flows all the way through. and then it flows out to all this. So that was the easy part. Now let's consolidate everything. So the thing is, I really want to avoid using this tile, because if we can, then I'd love to have it sort of a line all the way around here. Now I'm just kind of drawing it. I guess I'm drawing it quite a lot. So that's what I want. So we should start looking at this as a sort of the benchmark. Good. So that one, yeah, all of this does need to be here, but this is a problem or a challenge. So that can go out on this side. So that's another little point here. You also need the same thing. And that goes up to this one, where these two are in. And then it's just going to be mirrored the other side. Yes. But up here, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I have to do it like that. And just cut this. We also have some in here that needs to come out. That one. I'm going to just merge them into a central line here, which will be double. Don't care. Oh, here's another one. Then that would also be a lot easier. But I think we'll have issues with that later on. But we'll see it as that comes in. Let's do all of this. Flip it over to here. And then clean up these lines. I like it. And then I guess all of this should still be, well, all this. Let's see if we can get that down here. Flip it vertically like this. These two go out, and you get placed back here. There. Now this has to be a little bit different in here, but this is fine. Flip it. Okay, so this is basically what we need here. We do have a few things. This one is not working. They have to go like that. And you also have to go in, so I guess we can just do here. Yes. Okay, so this is good, I think. Yeah. That's the piping done, I hope. That might be, oh, right, not quite. Not quite at all. Not at all at all. Ah, man, you've been yelling at the comment section. Thank you. Let's see. This here and these two here. Looks so much nicer. That. Flip it down here. And then flip the other side. Here. And flip it again. Yeah. Good. So now that works. Then I think this also would look nicer to do like that one. So there's a little bit of cleanup here. Yeah, that's a little bit more tight. So let's move that in so that there's... Oh, what? Oh, this one. Yes. It's like, how did it not work? And here. Good. So that's the minimum amount. And this double line, I'm just going to leave it as that. Now the next part is power poles. That is going to be surprisingly difficult. That one, we'll just start the easy places. Here, 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 and here. So that's everything except this one. If I make it here, then it works. But what I don't have is actually this one is not covered at all. So once we actually get some power into this one, we'll see that there's a problem here. That one is not powered. So I need to put it here. But then these two are not powered. And so I could build them next to each other, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowing me to do that. That's illegal. So I'm going to put it up here. And that means I need to do some shenanigans with these two. Yeah, and that means this one has to go up instead of in, even though it's a little bit longer. There you go. So this is our build, and if you look at it from a map view, then it's also a relatively decent. There's a lot of excess connections out in the corner that we can fix. This, I don't really want them to be connected like that. I want it to be connected to the inner one that looks nicer. And so all of these very greedy power poles, substations, they are very greedy for connections. That's not allowed, and this one's not allowed, this one's not allowed, this one's not allowed. This is definitely not allowed. And go in here. So this is important for the blueprint because the wire configuration is inside the blueprint. So there, let's have a look on map view. Much nicer. Good. So that's power. Now we need to insert the power here to feed it. And that's going to be pretty much what we've done like this before. We're going to do that one for symmetry. And down here. Yeah, so that's not actually powered. That's fine, and that's fine. But this one's not fine. So we could do all sorts of weird things. But I'm going to do a silly but functional system here. If I build it like this, and I take a long-handed inserter, then it works. Yeah, because this tile there's no power coverage, and I can't really get power coverage. I'm sure I can use better power poles, but that's not really what I want. Okay, so this is the second to last thing. The last thing we need to add is the Kickstarter, just to get the whole thing going. And that's going to be the only place that's room for it is here. So we're going to get it in and out, and you're going to be unbarreling. And then that has to be, yeah, see, that has to be here, which is not good. So we have to do this so they don't mix. And that just goes straight up here. And then I just need from here to here, and that will be limited when fluoroketon is less than, it'll be working only when it's less than 1000. Good, good. So let's hook this up and see what happens. So we're bringing in now the power here, and that also has to be put into these side ones, which I kind of forgot, and also that one. So now we are bringing stuff in here slowly, and that will keep working. And then again, we'll probably need to add an extra demand here. Now, this blueprint, there might be an error in terms of one of these lines or some pipe that's missing. If there is, I'll be fixing it in the blueprint. And it's really difficult to see all the connections that are missing. But basically what I want to see is I want to power this up, and I can do that again by putting one of these. Now this blueprint, this power plant is making 3.4 gigawatt of power. So if we want this, then we should actually go 3, and then it should say input. So now that's adding a lot more demand here. You see, nice little spike. And then it should actually work. So basically the way that you can test it is to see, is it actually working? So for this one, it says output full. Why does it say output full? They should really be consuming all of this. But this is actually not really using enough because I also have other power plants on this planet. I've been doing a lot of testing. So this actually needs to be more like 4 or even 5 just to see that it's actually, all of it is working. And this one, now it should start working everywhere. This one still says output full. There's always going to be like one of these that are not working. it's a little bit of a mystery to me. Okay, now it's actually start working. Now it's output full once in a while, and then it's also working. But that's because we're still not using all of the fluoroketone or all of the plasma that's generated in here. And this one is also going to be blinking for a while until we have brought in enough barrels to saturate the network. These will be completely full when that happens, so it's going to be quite a lot of fluoroketone. It works perfectly now. That we don't need to have full of fluoroketone. It just has to be non-empty. And there it goes. This one is, it's still a mystery to me why it's this one's. This is the stuff that I mentioned earlier, that there's something weird about it. Like, instead of all of these working at 90%, then you can see that this one is working at 100%. The consumption is 4. So it's 100% for all of them, and then one of them is going to be idle, or sort of flickering on and off, instead of them all of them being there. So it's weird. To me, it's just really weird. But it does work. It's the way that we started up, and yeah, it's because they don't need the power actually. So it'll be working. You can see that it's only working at, if it's around 40 out of 50 megawatt, then it's working at 80%, which does make sense that if there's 80% and there are 8 of these, then at least one of them is going to be idle. But I would prefer that they all worked at 80% utilization instead of one of them being completely idle and one of them is sort of flickering on and off. There should be one of them. Yeah, this one is not fully consuming. Well, that's just the way this works. So it's not a bug, it's not an error, it's an inconvenience in the way that they have designed it. So now this one is working again, because now we just really strained our network here. So you can see there's running at 45 out of 50 megawatts. So when there's enough power demand, all of them will be working. That's glorious. And there will be one of them that's scaling down instead of all of them scaling down together. There you have it. That is 2 beautiful blueprints for you to use in your own base. This works on all the other planets. So basically, once you have this, you just send this amount to any of the planets, and then you never ever have to worry about power again. And if you for some reason scale up, for example on Volcanus, you will be scaling up beyond the 3.4 gigawatt, then you just stamp down a second one, because it's fully contained within the city block, and it doesn't have a continuous demand for fluoroketone. It only has a demand for the fusion power cells, which are dirt cheap. So there you go. Power is solved with 2 beautiful blueprints, one for Aquilo and one for every other planet. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. These blueprints are available to patron supporters, so if you are a patron supporter, feel free to grab them and put them into your own game. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting, and thank you for being part of the design process over on Twitch TV/Nilaus on Sundays. Until next time, take care and stay effective.